Hello, red shirts. Welcome to Follow Me and Die. I'm your host, Larry Hamilton, and today is a new episode in my YouTube series, Roll20 for the Absolute Beginner. And today I want to talk about organizing your campaign, because if your information is not organized, you can't find it easily when you need it. Because who wants to spend time waiting for the game master to find the information they're looking for? So here's a few tips and tricks for how I try to organize my information to speed up access for not just the game master, but for the players as well. So here we'll see different things that we've got. Some of these are not in folders. You'll notice that there's the red squares with lines represent documents, and then the plus sign represents closed folders. You can have as many folders as you want. You can have folders under folders. I believe it'll let you go 5 layers deep, but I've got a topic on Roll20 for different things to share with my players that they can get up to speed on that. So if you've got a certain way you want to do things in Roll20, you can have that information easily accessible to your players or as a reminder to yourself. So I've got one on general navigation that just explains how to get around, how to generate characters for this game, and I've got a macro for that, and I direct them to the macro, just some general information, and so forth. Now, then the characters, in this particular campaign, we've got characters that may not be aligned with a particular Adventurers Guild, so they're in the unaligned folder. Those that are part of the United Delvers are here, and then we've got an explanation of what the United Delvers are, who their hirelings they hired through the United Delvers, what their marching order is going in to different situations, single file, 2 across, 3 across, etc. Makes it quicker to organize things. A party loot and equipment page so that they can keep track of the loot they've acquired before they split it up. Then some players, and then not played yet would be people that rolled up characters but haven't yet played. I've got a roster that explains who everybody is, what their characters are, and so forth. I've got blank sheets that I can easily have a new player get started right away. Characters, we did that. Party info. So I have a player's table of contents. And so I used a table to organize it, and it doesn't remember how big you make it between sessions, which is a little bit frustrating. But I've got links to all the different documents, and the purple links are links to within your Roll20 campaign. So if I click roster, it brings up the roster. Now, let me bring the talk to the front. Now when I click roster, nothing happens. That's because the roster is already open. So if you click a link that you've made and your document doesn't pop up, that means you've got it open and you've either clicked this link to make it a separate page and you've maybe gotten it behind the other screen, or you've dragged it off screen. But then I've got the town and some information, religion and deities, the party loot page and hirelings and all that good stuff, information on gear and mounts and what page it's on and the rules, campaign info, like what's my elevator pitch for this, the campaign wiki. I've got a wiki page where I update information for the players. I do session summaries, encourage the players to write their own summaries. The Google Calendar for scheduling the campaign, other spreadsheets that are helpful, and so forth. And then all the different Roll20 information I've got. And that's all the player-facing stuff. Then I've got GM notes, and I've got the Game Master's informational talk, which will let me open up the, where's my players talk on here? I've got the players. I haven't played this game for a while, so I'm a little rusty where that is. Maybe I didn't link. Well, I would recommend that the player table of contents be a link on the Game Master table of contents, but it's all the different information that's helpful. So I've got a rumor table and what people can learn. I've got a little table to generate working goblin tribe, so I need to find out on the spur of the moment. Some adventure planning information, house rules, all that good stuff. Anything I need as a game master to help prepare for a session or run a session. Then under GM Notes, I've got a folder for adventure and I've got inspirational images. And then delving deeper, that is the rule system for this particular campaign. It's basically original D&D but organized. It's still not organized as I would do it, but this is the different information that ends up being used regularly, like hirelings, mercenaries, loyalty, morale, all those good things. Then I've got maps, different things with that. I've even got a to-do list so I can keep track of the different things I need to come up with, whether for the next session or just in general would be helpful. Campaign information, this is all linked, and if it's available to the players, it'll have a blue dot next to it. That's basically the information. The main thing to keep in mind when organizing is that your macros and any tables and any card decks you have are going to be under here. And if you want the players to see those, you've got to scroll down. If you want it visible to players, you either have to choose all players or the players that you want it to be. If you don't do that, even though you've got it marked as in bar, it's only in the Game Master's bar. It's not available to players. So, and the same would be true for tables. If you don't check players can roll from the table, they can't even see the table to roll from it. Decks has a similar checkbox. Players can draw cards. If that's not checked, then players can't mess with that. So that's a little bit of what I do to organize. Okay, so that's a quick little overview of some of the things I do to organize my games. I've found that sometimes my organization is not as great as I want it to be because I can't find it when I need it. That's when you want to keep in mind that up here is a search by name or tag. So if I want to find the rumor table, I can just type rumor and it shows me the rumor table. And then you can clear that and it returns everything else to here. So don't forget to use that search if you're not finding it. What I've found sometimes is I will put something somewhere and maybe forget to put it on my game master table of contents or player table of contents, and then I can't find it when I need it and I forget what I called it, so a search doesn't do any good. Just have to keep up with that organization because after several sessions you can end up with hundreds of pages and dozens of characters, hundreds of monsters, dozens or more folders, so that it gets harder to organize it if you don't figure out a system to start. So I recommend that you start with a simple system, and as it grows, you can adjust it and figure it out. And once you've run, at least one campaign, you're going to really learn what works. And the more campaigns you run, different rule systems are going to maybe beg for different organization of your information. Maybe not a large difference, but you may find that you have some difference there, but it's all to your personal taste. The other thing with organization before I go is on the maps. Up at the top here, when you're not using a map, you can archive it. And that way you don't have to scroll for a mile to get to the document you want. And then if you forget to do something else, you got to scroll back and forth too much. I'd recommend to try to avoid having more maps than you can see on this bar up here, or not too many more, like 5 or 6 more than you can see on this bar wouldn't be too bad. But if you can't drag the player's flag all the way to the table you want to be on, it's going to make it difficult. And you lose track of where you left the player tab and so forth. What I do is if it's a map that's going to be used more currently, but I don't want to close the other maps, is I'll drag it closer to the starting page. That way it's right there and I can just remember to drag the player's flag to that. And the last bit of organization is if you've got macros showing up here, you may want to color code your macros. That's easy. Just right click on it. You can hit the color and you can choose what color you want it. So different colors will stand out so that it'll catch your eye. If you happen to be colorblind, you obviously will be doing a better job of finding the colors that'll work for you. If you're not colorblind, you've got more options of colors you can see, so you can take advantage of that ability and have all the different colors that you need for organization. I believe those are the big topics for organization that would give you the most bang for your buck. If there's anything else related to organizing for a Roll20 campaign that you feel I should touch on, please mention it in the comments. I really thank you all very much for watching. I hope you're having an awesome day. And as always, game on.